Welcome, entrepreneurs and go-getters, to Money Making Mondays. This is the place where your business dreams become achievable goals, powered by the strategies of pay-per-call marketing. And who better to guide you on this journey than the master himself, Carlos Corona. He's made Mondays more than just the start of the week. They're the launch pad of your business's potential. So grab your seat, take out your notebook, and get ready to turn your Mondays into Money Making Mondays.
Pay-per-call, TCPA, RPC, ring trees, call tracking, instant caller profile. This is the world I was thrown into. The world I'm still, learning. Overwhelming, to say the least. You see, I'm new to this industry. I'm Greg, Ringba's content producer. I'm the guy with the camera. Photography, video, that sort of thing. You see, about 6 months ago, I got hired and joined these guys. Easily the best group of people you'll ever meet. Ringba, an analytics platform used for inbound call tracking. Now, I had to have someone explain this to me, but inbound calls are when someone calls a business or a contact center instead of them calling you. You know, the whole, we've been trying to reach you about your car's extended warranty. Yeah, it's the opposite of that. I didn't even know this was a thing people cared about. Turns out tons of businesses actually make use of inbound calls. Well, every day I sit here at my desk, and as I create content, I learn all of these terms, jargon, lingo, nuances within the pay-per-call space. But easily the best part of my job are the trade shows. I get to meet our clients, speak with amazing companies, and meet all of these people who also operate within the pay-per-call space. It's great for business, and I get a chance to learn how people use Ringba to streamline their call flow and optimize their business. Well, fast forward 6 months, over a dozen trade shows, a dozen parties, and dozens of scripts to write. And I've gotten a lot better at understanding all of these terms. But I'm pretty sure there's more to it than that. Enter Carlos Corona Jr., performance marketer, digital media buyer, and all around a great guy. For the last few years, he's hosted this Mastermind, specifically to help others learn pay-per-call, its marketing tactics and strategies for high conversions. Now, the opportunity to attend this Mastermind presented itself, so I packed my bags and flew to Florida. So when I got there, I met a ton of industry veterans and some people that were new to the space as well. And I got to hear where they came from, and they shared with me some of their stories.
My background was in e-commerce. I had cut my teeth in digital advertising from 2005 to 2014.
Okay, I was born in India, and I came here 13 years ago. I live in Fargo, North Dakota. I did my engineering from there and my master's. And now I work in digital marketing. I run flights with Google Ads. So that's my story.
So I had this idea back in the day of building websites, right? And what I wanted to do at the time was create a website and then don't charge the client anything for the website, but instead charge them for every phone call that came into the website. And I was in my head, at the time I was in college, in my head I was like, if everybody pays me 25 cents for every call that comes into the website that I build, in the long run, I'm gonna make a whole lot more than charging a flat fee to make a website.
I was managing very large digital advertising budgets. I was the founder and CEO of that company, but after 9 years, business was just extremely challenging. Profitability was extremely elusive. And I made the difficult decision to shut that down.
But guess what? That idea didn't work, because when I presented that model to my clients at the time, they weren't buying it. They would just rather pay for it. So I kind of shelved that idea and moved on to opening businesses based on what I was buying, media.
A few years later, I came across Adam Young's pay-per-call masterclass that he had put out on Facebook or just on the web. And I watched that. It made a ton of sense to me. I really enjoyed the value proposition associated to pay-per-call.
I was buying media for perfume wholesaling, so I will open that company and different companies, right? And then a friend of mine that owns a public adjusting company says, hey, can you generate, some calls for me? So I started generating calls for him. The problem was that he only served South Florida, and I wanted to go nationwide. So I went online and I searched, who buys phone calls, and I found a company. That company told me flat out no. Then I found the next company, and they say, hey, we'll try you out. And that's how I got started.
It's not vanity advertising associated to clicks and awareness and likes. It really is accountability to the bottom line, which was something that really resonated with me after my e-commerce experiences, where I was doing lots of top-line revenue. We were a very well-known brand, but we were wickedly unprofitable. Pay-per-call is the opposite of that. And my career was reborn with a purpose for the bottom line.
They all had these stories where they kind of fell into the pay-per-call space and fell in love with the results they found. I also really wanted to know why they came to this event and why they were passionate about this industry.
Well, people come here for two reasons: to network and gain knowledge, right? So there's speakers, and speakers will help, basically communicate their life experiences or their business experiences, especially to younger folks or folks that have been in the industry for less time, and really just try to pay back some of that stuff that we've learned. I am in this industry because Adam decided to do a video. He didn't have to do that. It was a free course. So I feel an obligation to pay back to the community and to help folks out. So meeting folks like us who've done well and networking, we're also in the relationship business. So it really is a combination of getting the knowledge, getting information, getting tips and tricks. You can leave this conference with really just one nugget of information, and it makes the entire trip worth it. That helps you go to the next level on a particular campaign, or helps you overcome a particular challenge that you were not able to overcome, or all of a sudden something becomes clear in your mind and now you're able to go back and execute. It's definitely very motivating to be around such successful people. You end up going back charged up, pumped up, and ready to get after it.
But with Carlos, I know I'm always there with his events actually. And whenever I see Ringwise there, I want to be there because I learn a lot.
It's important for people in the industry, regardless of their role in the industry, to come to these events because of the network. There's major influencers, major trainers that come here, and they're giving their time to educate and network. Building your network in the industry is no doubt one of the most valuable things you can do.
If they're media buyers, or they're interested in learning how to generate phone calls, or they're interested in meeting other people who are doing these things, it's really great to come to an event like this because they walk away with a tribe of people that they can bounce ideas off of and really find new ways to grow their business. And that's the main benefit of something like this.
We are in Miami Beach right now in this beautiful yacht. The whole industry is in sight. We're about to go and catch some beautiful views of downtown Miami, the river. You do not want to miss this. Come, let me show you.
When we boarded the yacht, everything seemed to fade away. These industry titans became regular people again. It was pretty cool to watch them unwind. Before I knew it, the first day of the Mastermind was over. Everyone seemed to have made it very clear that this event was about learning and sharing knowledge and experience, the goal being to all grow together and really develop this industry. The second day of the Mastermind was a bit more relaxed, but it also felt more dense with information. We dived into talking about marketing strategies around calls, like using social media, video production, conversion rates, and KPIs for each of those avenues. Since everyone was a bit more relaxed on that second day, I wanted to hit them with a couple of interesting questions. What has pay-per-call done for your life? And what should I be taking away?
Pay-per-call has really been the dream come true. Coming into this industry with my life experiences, it has completely altered the trajectory of my life. Being at the right place at the right time is sometimes just as important as having the right skills. You could have the right skills at the wrong time, or a great business at the wrong time. Let's say opening up right before COVID, and you could have had the best restaurant in the world, and you're out of business today. So timing is important. I think having entered the pay-per-call space sort of at its nascent point back in 2018, 2019, and riding that wave was very fortuitous for us. Being able to position ourselves within the market as a quality lead provider, I think, has been very advantageous.
See, I'm very blessed now. I call myself a good digital marketer because of pay-per-call. I can see those calls, what is a good call, what is a bad call, right? Good call means good conversion, good digital marketing ads, right? So, and it completely changed my career. So, my family is settled, I am settled, we don't have to worry about money, no. It's like, we're printing money every day. But it's a lot of hard work. There are 120 people working for us. It's not like I'm just doing alone or it's my money. It's my company money. My company is doing really good because of pay-per-call and because of, I feel like, two companies, Unique Media and Ringba. So,
First of all, make it real. Whether it's standing up your first ad or just signing up for the course, do something that makes it real and continue to take action. Don't be blinded by dollar amounts so much in the beginning. Be obsessed with the inputs and the process around building your business.
Learn and network. You're not going to learn as much as you can by someone else who's going through the same struggles as you. So don't think you got to go at it alone. Kind of take your pride out of it and lean on others to help you overcome any hurdles and really identify new opportunities to scale your business up.
It took the whole trip, but I finally got to speak one-on-one with Carlos. I had to ask, why does he throw this event every year? Out of all the avenues he could have taken in life, he chose pay-per-call. He chose the pay-per-call space. I had to ask, why?
I'm gonna tell you why. I think that any skill set can change a person's life, right? And I think that pay-per-call definitely changed my life. So I throw this event for multiple purposes. The main purpose is to expose people that are new to the industry to what pay-per-call is. And the second purpose is to network with my colleagues or with my teammates, quote unquote, right? Because great things happen at these events. Not necessarily at the session, but networking after activities and so forth. So, you get to build those relationships, you get to add value to those relationships. So I think this type of events are needed in our industry. They're not your traditional conference where everybody goes to an expo hall, they walk the expo hall, then they go to the lobby of the hotel, and that's where they, chop to talk business. Here, it's a different setting, a different environment, and it's a more home feeling, a more mastermind feeling, where you can ask questions and share ideas and step outside, and that's how business flourishes. It's a great thing. So if I'm being completely and brutally honest with you, I always wanted to make money from doing nothing. In my head, I was like, I should wake up every morning and, God put me in this earth, so where's the money to live on this earth, So I'm just being funny. But what I'm trying to say is that this business model kind of fits what I'm after, right? Because compared to other traditional businesses that I had in the past, where I ran like a logistic warehouse or a distribution company, or, you need actual mans in the warehouse, forklifts, trucks, whole bunch of things go on, right?
A lot of overhead.
Yeah, a lot of overhead, where this is more like streamlined. Is, you can run very lean. You can change verticals if you want to pretty fast. So it checks a lot of the boxes for me. And if you're good at it, because it's performance-based, you're rewarded monetarily very handsomely, very well. This is performance-based.
So I spoke to the CEO, spoke to Carlos, and filmed everything with help from Carlos's media team. And before I knew it, I was on the plane back home. So where does that leave me? What did I take away from all of this? Everything said at that mastermind was the result of trial and error. It was everyone discussing and passing on all of the knowledge and the wisdom that they've accumulated through the years. It was knowledge, connection, and a drive to be better than they were yesterday. Always be ready to learn, always be ready to try something new, and you never know where the next good piece of advice will come from. This is the world of pay-per-call, the world I'm still learning.
Live from Miami, Florida, it's the Money Making Monday Show with your host, Carlos. I got calls in different areas. I got calls.
Ready to make some magic?
What's going on, guys? Got two special guests here. We're at the Pelican Bay event, okay? And we got Carlos Corona and Brandon Bowski here. Gentlemen, why don't you go and introduce yourselves?
Name's Brandon Bowski, ex-insurance industry, currently in lead gen, AI, and I just build fun offers. Yeah, here we are.
Go. I'm Carlos Corona. I'm the co-founder and CMO of Unique Media Group. We're a pay-per-call network where we educate people how to get into the industry and make a living from doing pay-per-call.
How'd you get started doing what you do?
What I do today or what I did?
What you did before that led you here?
Well, I fell into insurance when I was living in my car in 2016 and started selling it, made some money, and was like, hey, this is cool. I'm going to go do something else. And they said, no, stay here. Be a manager. So what's that like? And they were like, well, you make half the money, but you don't have to do any work. And this light bulb goes off. And I'm like, oh my God, so much room for activities. And I felt like I was in Step Brothers. And then I did more work than I could have ever imagined. Grew the company from 40 people to almost 400 over the course of about 15 months. Asked for a pay raise when I built a product with an insurance carrier that was going to make us a lot of money. They said no. When they said no, I was just like, I can't believe this. What am I supposed to do now? So I left, started my own thing. Was very successful. I basically took everything I learned and all the stuff I wasn't given the freedom to do and used all that newfound creative control and grew a big business. And what happened was I wanted to make some extra money to buy a watch because my girlfriend at the time told me, don't buy a watch, save your money. And so I started selling calls on the side for downsells and like other offers.
I think I heard this story on a podcast.
Yeah, maybe. Next thing you know, I ended up with a watch and a business that was making $2,000 a week, $5,000 a week, $10,000. One day I made $100,000. I was like, oh my God, this is a real company. Fast forward now, we're tracking about 150 million, hopefully going to hit 200 this year. And that's us.
Oh, yeah, man.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
What about yourself?
I got into this industry by mistake. So when I was in college, I had this idea of building websites. And then instead of them paying me for the website, just pay me every time you receive a phone call. Like it's 25 cents, okay. Nobody bought into that idea. So I was like, fuck it, I'm not gonna do that. Instead, I built brick and mortar companies around the media that I was buying. So at the time, I started buying like perfumes and selling like brand name perfumes, fragrances, drop shipping it. This is 2006, 2007.
Early drop shipping.
Yeah, early drop shipping. I had to send like a pick and slip literally to the distributor so they can pick the products, run my credit card, and then ship it, drop ship it, white label to the customer. Which now the companies, they're Fragrance X. I don't know if you know about them, but they're huge now. And that's how it started. And then I was like, this is pretty good money. I'm gonna go ahead and build a logistic company and buy trucks and forklifts and warehouses. And I did that, and then I hated it. It was like the worst thing I could possibly do. And I sold it, and I said to myself, what if I buy a recording studio? That should be fun. And I opened a recording studio in Miami. At the time, we were starving. I mean, I ran through all my money, all my savings. I didn't have any more money. And I hit like a depression, like, you know, like, fuck, I failed. I burned everything that I, you know, created. And a good friend of mine goes like, hey, man, can you make the phone ring for my company? I'm like, what is it that you do? He was like, water restoration. I'm like, what the fuck is that? He goes like, well, when people get water in their house, you know, they do an insurance claim. You know what insurance is? I'm like, of course. They're like, okay. And that's how it got started. The problem at the time was that it was only South Florida. And I wanted to like sail nationwide. I wanted to expand. So he told him, you know, he's Cuban. He looks at me, he goes like, Macho, what you got to do is you got to find a company out there that will buy your phone calls for you. This is 2017, 2018. So I go into, you know, Google and I type in like, who buys water damage phone calls? And eLocal and 33 Mile Radius pop up. So I call eLocal and I'm like, hey, will you guys buy some water damage? He's like, well, not really. We don't know who you are. We're not doing business with you. And then I called Tim McGill at 33 Mile Radius. I'm like, listen, man, I don't have any reference other than I have a client here in Florida that I'm generating these calls for. I want to go nationwide. And he gave me a chance. He goes like, can you start with plumbing first? And if you start with plumbing first, I'll open it up to water damage. And I was like, okay, great. I'll do that. Then, long story short, I sit down, I'm like, where can I run plumbing calls? Like, what city will have like the worst plumbing infrastructure ever? Well, Vegas. It's a freaking desert, right? They gotta have shitty plumber, like it's a desert, right? That's what I thought. And I started running there, and like Brandon said, like 2,000 first week, and then 5,000 and 10,000, and it kept growing and growing and growing. And I'm like, wow, like this is now like the idea of selling phone calls for 25 cents. Now it's like multi-billion-dollar industry that I wasn't aware of, and that's how I got started.
How'd you guys both meet?
Industry, I
yeah,
think.
industry,
Yeah.
mutual friends. Yeah, I did an event, Mastermind, I think last year in Miami, and that's when we officially met like in person.
You were at that one in October?
Was that when it was?
Yeah, you were there
Time
too.
flies. Yeah.
And I beat you, man.
It was a great
Like
event.
60 people there.
A lot of conversations.
Were you on
That
the
was
yacht?
a great event. I was on the yacht.
Yeah. Dude, it was a lot of people.
That was a lot of people.
It was a lot
And
of
it was a
people.
lot of catching up and a lot of alcohol.
Yeah, it was definitely a lot of.
That was a great event.
We should do it again.
I told him
We
I was
should
like,
do it
"Dude,
again."
throw another one. That was like one of the best events I've ever
Dude,
been
I'm in. I'll do one with you all day.
Hell yeah, we'll do one again. It was a lot of fun though. This industry is a great industry, and I see how somebody like me can have their life changed by coming into a group like this, that people are helping each other, are encouraging each other to grow, and are building like really cool stuff. Think about it. Today is like what, Thursday at 2 p.m. and we're here. That's not the norm, you know.
Especially not when you make real money.
Exactly.
What are you focused on today?
Today, I have a rock star team. I've been really fortunate to be able to elevate a lot of people in leadership roles, and now currently focused on building AI technology to try to help people get out of the kind of mundane call center roles that a lot of people fall into, and find things they're more passionate about by having AI automate a lot of those processes. So instead of having somebody sitting in a room miserable and hating their life, they can go do something meaningful that they find fulfilling, and I can just have a robot do that.
I spoke with, do you know about Terry?
I do not.
Yeah.
You know about Terry, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he's working on, or was working with some kind of software where it automates and actually adapts the language to the native tongue and accent.
Nice.
Based on the IP, just like so. I think that's
we've looked at doing that too, doing different voices based on the geo, and it does have a profound impact.
Wild, man. Yeah, it's where this industry. Like, so what do you think call centers are going to be in 10 years?
I think that salespeople will always be here. I think if we look at 10 years, I think a lot of what we do is going to be automated heavily. I think 5 to 7 years from now, a lot of things we do will be automated. I think that the businesses that I plan to invest in are going to be home services businesses like the AI stuff is great. I'll make some money, but I plan to redeploy that into home services businesses because the things that are going to become commodities are the things today we look at as menial, but somebody has to do them. The manual labor jobs that have to be done that can't be replaced by machines very easily, those are going to be the future to me of industry, because we'll end in like some type of a UBI situation. We have to, because people are going to lose so many jobs to machines. And when we move into that, there's going to be, it's almost like a renaissance where people are going to find meaning in their lives, fulfillment, be passionate about things, and to an extent be carried by society. But there are going to be a lot of manual jobs, like somebody getting up on your roof and fixing your roof. A robot isn't going to do that very quickly. That will happen eventually. But to automate that process is so much more drastically different and more difficult than automating a call center process. So I think
a human doing it with the robot.
yeah, there's a chance that that'll happen sooner. I think it'll be assisted, and then eventually it'll move past that point, and it'll just be robots doing certain tasks and humans doing others. But I think that the longevity on manual labor, specifically a service-based industry, is going to outlive a lot of other verticals.
Yeah.
And I think like legal, for example, if you're like, oh, I have a robot that'll be my lawyer. Well, that's good and it's bad, because at the end of the day, there's not a robot judge, right? So we'll see where the future goes. But I think call centers will be a lot different. I think it's going to be more of people providing the sale of the product, because people still do want to buy products and they want to be sold. And I have to speak in 5 minutes, so I'm going to dip out of here after this comment. But people want to be sold. They want to feel comfortable in a purchase that they're making. And there's the concept of the uncanny valley, where if something becomes too close to human but clearly not human, you immediately don't trust it. And until we get over that hump, which who knows when that's going to happen, and even if it will happen, because people are always going to be distrusting of machines.
Yeah.
People want to do business with people that they like. So the human factor, I think, will still exist. I think call centers will be radically different. I think we'll probably be in a virtual society where people will take calls from home or from wherever they are, and that will be the sales cycle. You'll have a qualification done by a robot, a piece of technology I'm building that other people are racing to as well. And then eventually people will just sit around and take the calls from wherever, and it'll be very similar to the way we're here at 2 p.m.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. I think a lot of the repetitive entry-level stuff is going to be done by automation, artificial intelligence, and the manual labor is still going to be manual labor. I don't see anywhere in the near future a robot replacing a water heater or a toilet or a furnace, but I do see robots doing health insurance enrollment or auto insurance enrollment, and I do see in the near future where it's going to have a disclaimer that you're speaking with artificial intelligence.
Yep.
I see that happening.
And a benefit to that is there's no bias. The robot doesn't have a bias. So if it's giving you the best option, it's truly giving you, based on the data set that it's been provided, the best option. It's not giving you the one with the most commission. So I think it's going to actually be a more honest society in that way.
What advice do you have for someone looking to get into the affiliate space today?
There's endless opportunity. I mean, I think that pay-per-call is going to be continuing to grow as, pay-per-lead and lead forms are going to continue to decrease in demand, mainly because, and like Carlos said, the thought was, well, what if I get somebody interested on the phone now, instead of having to call them, annoy somebody, and get them on the phone later, and then hope I can keep them on the phone.
Yeah.
So I think that if you're getting into the industry, obviously a lot of people have done the e-com stuff, the Nutra stuff, the trial stuff, lead form stuff, but I really do believe calls are the future.
Yeah, I also agree with that one. I think calls are the future. I think that inbound consumer-initiated warm transfers are also going to be the future, because a lot of regulation that are going to be stopping people from outbound dialing and using these predative approaches, especially with the senior demographic. So they're going to turn into having an inbound call that is going to be pre-qualified either by human or AI or some other type of business intelligence before getting into an agent, which no longer needs to be under the same roof. It could be somebody working remotely anywhere. So we're definitely going to see that, I think, in the near future, where we're going to become a lot more efficient in the way that we handle and process calls.
What are you most excited about today?
Being alive.
I second that, gentlemen.
Oh, yeah. I know you got to speak, brother.
Great to talk to you,
Thank you for
Carlos.
joining us, man.
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it.
Nice, I get to be mic'd up now.
Hey. take two.
So Carlos, what I know you've had a pretty cool history with obviously doing the perfume drop shipping, brick and mortar, music studio. That's definitely the most different out of everything you've done. It sounds like. What do you like the most about pay-per-call? Like, what lights you up about it?
A lot of things. I like the fact that we're helping out people at the end of the day. You know, people are calling and they're getting the products or the services that they need. So I like that a lot. And then I also like that I can scale this business because I leverage my partner's resources in the sense that if I am generating call for a Fortune 500 company that has 1,000, 2,000 agents on the floor answering these calls, then now I can operate at that scale. Whether in a traditional business, I will have to have like 2,000 agents working for me, and it will be a big overhead to be able to do that.
Got to scale it into.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. Another thing that I like is that I'm able to be nimble and adapt really fast. So I could be running home services today, and if that vertical for whatever reason is not performing, I can adapt and switch over to a new vertical and be running a mass tort or some type of insurance or some type of legal service rather quick, where you can't really do that in traditional, right? If you're running a restaurant, you can't just tomorrow decide, hey, we're going to shut all this down and I'm going to have a salon up and running, right? So you can't do that, but you can do that in pay-per-call. So that's something that, you know, I really like. And the other thing that I really like is it's the community and the industry and the cult around this niche of performance marketing, right? And you see like this team kind of...
it's collaborative.
Correct. It's team kind of vibe because everybody collaborates, everybody like, you know, want to kind of help each other out even though they're competing with each other at the same time. So you don't get to see that in many industries, but you do get
people
to
don't
see
open
it in
up
this.
as much.
Correct.
What I know you help a lot of people. You've been coaching for when did you first launch your course and start doing coaching?
Great.
We're good, man. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I know you've helped a lot of people. You've done a lot of coaching. When did you first start, and why did you decide to start coaching?
So I first started coaching in late 2018. And the reason why I did it is because I was surprised that not enough people was doing pay-per-call. And even though it's still relatively a small industry, it was smaller back then. So I was surprised that people were not doing really pay-per-call, and they were like, you know, doing all this other hard stuff to make an income online, which I was like, that makes no sense. So I decided to start teaching and coaching people on how to do what is it that I do. And so far we have taught like a little over 1,400 people. Oof. And a lot of them, you know, have grown to be 6, 7, 8-figure players in the industry. You see a lot of them in this room here today. And that to us is really rewarding. To grab somebody that had no idea what pay-per-call was, and then now to see that they're running a team of 10, 15, 20 people in this industry doing this is fucking amazing.
What are the habits you see of the ones that have the most success versus the ones that don't succeed?
Yeah, well, the main habit that I see is the one that have a lot of success are obsessive. They obsess over the business, how things are done, and they don't give up. They're persistent, right? And the ones that don't succeed, they see it more as a hobby. And maybe this is a cool side gig. I'll maintain my 9-to job. I'll still be an architect. And I'll do this on the side to see what can happen. But that guy that built something before and failed and hit rock bottom and wants to build something new, those people usually tend to take business opportunity a little bit more serious. And they come in with experience of previous, businesses. So they apply all that into something like this, and they can see a return on their investment, and they can see success rather quickly. So to circle back around, I see people I immediately know when somebody joins our program is going to be successful because one, they watch all the videos. The questions that they're asking are very like elaborate questions, and they're applying what they're learning. They're executing. They're not just sitting around and absorbing theory without putting it into practice.
What are the things you focus on and obsess about that make you successful?
I am obsessed with a lot of things, especially with the heat right now. I am obsessed with a lot of things, but one of the things that I really am obsessed about is with like integrations of systems and connecting different systems together to perform certain activities. I'm also quite a bit obsessed with AI at the moment and using AI to do a lot of analysis and data handling for us. And I'm also looking into building a complete funnel and move from just being a network, a lead generator, a media buyer, into also servicing, and to also move into also servicing some of the leads that we're generating. Like
you want
in
to
the case
bring
of insurance.
things in-house.
Correct.
With your own call center or sales
own call
team
centers and all agencies and issue on bond or own policies.
When you first started seeing the internet money,
Yeah.
I don't know what year you exactly started, 2016, 2017?
I mean, I've been seeing internet money for quite a while. From pay-per call in 2017, 18.
2017. Could you have predicted where you would be in 6 years having this kind of focus? And
no,
it's evolved. It's just been a complete evolution as you've
I
gone
thought
through.
that it was bullshit, to be honest. I honestly thought that I was not gonna. I look at my dashboard and for the first week, I think I spent it like maybe like $150, $200 on Craigslist ads, right? And my payout was like $2,800. And I was like, there's no way these people are gonna pay me.
They paid you.
This is bullshit. They're not gonna pay me. Watch this. It's gonna be a whole scam. And sure enough, Thursday, bam,
Money hits.
ACH. I'm like, whoa, hold on. And then I went crazy, but I had no idea that it was going to turn into, that it's going to turn into an 8-figure business,
It's cool, man.
No idea at all.
When you were younger, before you went on all these different paths, would you have ever guessed you would be doing this?
I knew I was going to be working around computers because when I was born in Cuba, so I came to this country when I was 13 in 1998. And when I was in Cuba, I used to make the line to be able to use a computer. So nobody had computers, so you had to like go to like a office type of library that you will use computers there. And you had to make a pretty long line to be able to do that, right? And then as soon as I moved to the US, I started like cutting grass for the neighbors. So they can pay me like $10 and I will cut the grass. And then I saved enough money and I went to like a Salvation Army. And then I bought like a whole bunch of old junk computers and made a computer, like put a computer together. So I've always been like around computers. I've always been like, computer has been like my main essential tool that I have used all my life.
Where'd this hustle come from, man? Like,
I think it comes from, being born in a country that it's a communist country, that you don't have any opportunities, there's no future, there's nothing to hope for, and then, life will change you. And then my parents were lucky enough to move to this country, to the US, and then I see all these opportunities that were never an option for me. And I was like, man, I'm just gonna hustle and gonna design the life that I want to. I'm gonna build the business that I want to, and I'm gonna live life on my terms. And to me, this is the greatest country, the only country I think that you can do that in. So a lot of the hustle came from that, Imagine somebody that comes to this country with like 50 cents in their pocket,
They got more dogged than most Americans getting out of bed every day.
Correct. So I had to learn the language, the culture.
When did you learn English?
So I came in 1998.
How old were you?
I was 13.
Yeah.
By 2003, I graduated high school. 2008, I graduated college, and I never had a formal job.
Fucking love it, man. That's, dude.
I never had a formal
like yours,
job.
Man.
Yeah.
Like, those are some of the people that have had the most success that I know.
Yeah, I remember when I was a sophomore in college, right? And at the time, it was like I told you, I was drop shipping perfumes, fragrances from New York. And then I look up.
Not from China. Not
from China.
Let's be very clear.
These are the real ones.
This is a real drop ship.
Yeah, it's real drop shipping from New York, designer brands, right? So I was looking at my QuickBooks, and we had like generated like $368,000 to be exact, right? From doing this drop shipping. I'm a sophomore in college, you know, I just came to this country like 5 years ago, right? So I was like, wow, this is pretty legit. So I told my mom, you know what, this college thing, like, forget it. I'm not doing it. And then she went nuts. She's like, you're gonna finish school? I'm like, Mom, I'm gonna graduate. The best offer that I have is from Chase, and they want to pay me like $60,000 a year. What am I gonna do with that? And she's like, no, you have to finish. You finish college. And
she wanted you to be the first college graduate.
Yeah, she's actually the only one in the family that graduated. My mother that graduated college. She's a chemistry teacher, and then I'm
so
like
she's
the
big
second
on education.
one. Yeah, big in education. Interesting fact: I never went to pick up my diploma.
That's awesome, man.
I should go sometime and pick it up.
You should go. Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, I should go. I never went to pick it up. Yeah.
So. What I find most interesting too is you're very personable, you're very charismatic, you're great to you're a great storyteller, you're great to talk with, but you also have that side of the brain that's very technical. You seem very system oriented.
Yeah.
Where do you think that comes from? Where you kind of have the best of both worlds with how you engage, interact, and think?
I think because I'm a Gemini, so like one side of me is like the, you know, very communicative, storytelling side, and then the other side is just like the geek in me, right? That I want to learn how to code, and I want to write this my own, and I want to build websites on my own.
You want to solve
and
problems.
I want to do everything on my own, solve problems, right? And then the other side is like, well, how can I communicate what I'm solving with other people, so you mix them both? It's a good fit.
What advice do you have? I want you to answer this question for two different types of people. Someone that's thinking about getting into the affiliate pay-per-call space.
Okay.
Someone that's in it already. What's the piece of advice that you would give to them today?
Okay. To someone that is new to the space, that wants to get in the space, my advice will be to try to find a niche that you want to concentrate in and become an expert on it, meaning like learn as much as you can from that. It's a big difference from somebody that knows everything about the product or offer that they're promoting and somebody that wants to promote that offer and product to make money, right? And what I mean by that is that whatever offer you decide that this is the one that I want to run and I want to promote, you should have very extensive research and a wide knowledge about it. Like you should be able to speak in depth about that offer, because that's going to allow you to be a better media buyer, a better negotiator with your advertiser, and a better performance marketing overall. If you're just picking an offer because you're looking at what is paying the most and you want to run that based on what is paying the most, chances are you're not going to have much success, right? So that will be my advice. Be fully invested in whatever that you're running, and then understand that everything is a process, right? So understand that in the case of basketball, we can probably dribble and play basketball, and we can probably do a mediocre or a good job at it. But there's no way that we can play basketball with LeBron or Michael Jordan, right? Because they've been doing this for a lot longer, they're more experienced. So understand where you are at your journey and then set expectations based on that, right? So don't be too hard on yourself and don't compare yourself with the greatest. because the greatest have been doing it for a while. They have acquired the experience, which is the only thing you can't really buy, experience. And that's why they perform at that level. Eventually you can become one of them or even better, but understand that will be a process for you to get there.
What about someone that's having success already?
So somebody that's having success already has to be in the constant lookout for improvements, running lean and efficient, right? So a lot of the time, somebody that is running successful already could be burning a lot of budget or a lot of resources and having overlapping roles, right? So they could hire 2-3 people to do the same job, and it's eating away from their profits, or having a outdated tech stack, right? And that could be, not propelling them into other opportunities and into other revenue sources, or analyze what is it that they're currently doing in their business and how they can make more money from what they're currently doing. And in the example of pay-per-call, unfortunately, a lot of us, me included, will look at the payout of the call as the end goal without realizing that the money's on the data and the upselling and cross-selling and monetization of your data.
Which is the hard part.
Yeah, correct.
That's really the hard part.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Bro.
So that's my advice to them. And we're in Tampa, and I gotta tell you, it feels like it's 100 degrees out here.
So let's finish with that, man.
Yeah.
What else would you like the audience to know?
Yeah.
And how can they learn more about you, your coaching? We'll obviously link back to everything underneath this video, but what else would you like our awesome viewers to know?
I would like them to know that there's a cool space out there that is called pay-per-call marketing, that is performance marketing, where essentially you will run advertisements and people will call those ads and you will get paid for phone calls that convert into billable calls, and you can make a great income, generate wealth, and work with some amazing people. That's the main thing that I want them to know. That there's something that is called pay-per-call that is out there, and that they can do it just like we do it. And if you want to get in touch with me, my Skype is 305 Shark, and in YouTube you can find me under Carlos Corona, which is my name. There's probably like 100 hours worth of free training there, so that will be a good place to start.
And Money Making Mondays.
Money Making Mondays. Every Monday at 12.
You should be charging for that content. He brings on some of the biggest people in this industry, and he just talks to them, and just you have open conversations.
Yeah.
You share what you're working on today.
Yeah.
At minimum, go follow him, but check out his program. He could absolutely help you as well if you're looking to get into pay-per-call. You want someone that hands-on, show you how to do it and do it right. So Carlos, I know it's hot as hell out here, man. Let's get inside, brother.
I appreciate
Thank you for joining me, man.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure. Peace out.
Welcome, entrepreneurs and go-getters, to Money Making Mondays. This is the place where your business dreams become achievable goals, powered by the strategies of pay-per-call marketing. And who better to guide you on this journey than the master himself, Carlos Corona. He's made Mondays more than just the start of the week. They're the launch pad of your business's potential. So grab your seat, take out your notebook, and get ready to turn your Mondays into Money Making Mondays.
Who brings an otter to a podcast?
It's actually automatic. I don't know why you gotta be a smartass about it.
It's kind of the whole premise of the show.
Wanna make that paper, wanna make that dough. This is the affiliate marketing show. Wanna make that paper, wanna make that dough.
Let's do it. What's up, everybody? It's Josh coming to you with another episode of the Affiliate Marketing Show. Please be sure to like, follow, and subscribe to stay up to date on all the latest affiliate marketing news and trends. I'm Josh from OfferVault.com, your number one stop shop for all things affiliate marketing. Whether you're looking for networks, offers, or other affiliate programs, make sure you check out OfferVault.com. Per usual, we also have Adam Young, the CEO and founder of Ringba, taking care of all your pay-per-call tracking needs. We also have future competing bodybuilder Harrison Gewirtz, who also does a side hustle of affiliate marketing. And we have Carlos Corona Jr., founder and CMO of Unique Media Group, a digital performance marketing agency that excels in pay-per-call and lead generation. He was recently awarded the prestigious title of Super Affiliate of the Year at the AFI Awards and is known for his dedication to fostering creativity and mentoring new talent in the industry through his training programs at Unique Academy as well as paidpercalls.com. What is up, Carlos? How are we doing today?
Hey, how's it going, man? Thank you for having me.
You know, Carlos, I'm not feeling you matching my energy, all right? I just gave you like the dopest intro of all time. Where you at?
It was pretty good. I was like, yo, what's up? Thank you. No, I appreciate it, man. I don't know how this show goes, so I'm here like following your lead, but thank you so much for that.
It's all
we're not in a corporate boardroom. You can chill out, bro.
Okay, cool. Sounds good. Let me kick back then.
Did you do this painting behind you, this self-portrait?
No, actually, no. Marta did it, my wife.
Oh, wow. I like it. It's nice. Nice little touch. Tell us about Super Affiliate of the Year. If you don't know, Darren Blatt is actually a friend of the show, also an uncle of mine by marriage, which many people don't know. Tell us about your experience at the AFI Awards. How did you get nominated for Super Affiliate of the Year, and what was that experience like?
It was pretty dope. It was actually my first time there, and he hit me up and said, "Hey, you congrats. We're going to give you this award, and then you just got to come and this and that." And then I was like, "Yeah, let's do it." And then it was my first time at the AFI. It was pretty cool, and I really appreciate it. Then I got to network with a whole bunch of people, which was like the highlight of the night. Actually, no, the highlight of the night was Method Man was performing. And, he kept saying to the crowd, like that shit, spark that joint. And nobody was doing it. So he kept saying it, and I can feel it. Like I was all the way in the back, and I can feel that he was getting frustrated. So I told my boy, like, yo, roll something up real quick. And then I went down to the crowd, push everybody through, and light up the joint and gave it to Method Man. I got my ass almost kicked out of there, but he started smoking. Smoking. He jumped in the crowd.
I was there, man. It got pretty foggy pretty quickly in there. I don't think you were alone. I think there are a couple things getting sparked up in there.
Yeah, well, I was like, yo, I have to do it. So then after that, we went to Omnia with Ron from Mobile Pushers, Ron Hart, and he went crazy. Like I never seen somebody order so much champagne that has different custom coming from the air and stuff. So that was a pretty crazy night, like Affiliate Summit West, the AFI Awards, smoking with Method Man, quote unquote,
Yeah, you can say you smoked with Method Man now. That's pretty tight. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Ron dropped like $100,000.
You can actually double that because I saw the bill. I was like, whoa. You just spent
You ever notice how people make sure you see the bill when you're at the club? It's like they get the bill and they walk around with the bill like the bottle girl.
No, listen. I gotta tell you, I saw it because he was signing it, and I look at the bill because I was
yeah. But like when we go to dinner, I get the bill, I do it like this. I'm like, close. No. At the club, you get the bill and you're like, did no one see the bill? Okay, great. Here you go. Take the check.
No, I saw that bill and I was like, yeah. So tell me more about Mass Torts. Because that was. I mean, I have footage. I'll send it to you guys of that night, like a recap. They were literally bringing bottles from in costumes. It's some pretty wild stuff, Vegas stuff. It was fun though. It was fun.
Yeah, hashtag Vegas. It sounds like to me.
Yeah, hashtag, passing the blunt to Method Man. Fuck
yeah, you're a legend, dude. You're a legend. Carlos, how did you get started in this world of affiliate marketing? And then I'd like you to tell us that, and then tell us how Unique Media kind of got its start as well.
Yeah, so it's a long and complicated story, but I'll keep it short and sweet. I started playing with I started playing with AdWords thanks to a PDF from Perry Marshalls. I don't know if any of you guys know Perry Marshalls. Perry,
No.
Marshalls. No. So the guy, this is like 2005, 2006. He puts out a PDF on how AdWorks, works, the ultimate guide. And I start following it. And at the time, what I did is I opened a perfume store, and I used to sell fragrances. And I used to drop ship them from New York from a supplier. This is like 2006, 2007. And that did pretty well. I was like 18 years old and, making six figures from this little online store. I was pretty static. And that led me to open other businesses because I was able to run my own Google AdWords. So I was pretty much, I didn't know what affiliate was. I didn't know nothing of that. So I was just running campaigns and knowing that I can build the businesses behind that. So I did a perfume wholesale business, and I opened a logistic company where we did freight forwarding, import and export of containers and machineries and stuff. Then I opened a recording studio, and I lost all my money. That sucks. And that brought me to like a dark, quote unquote, period of my life. That then I reconnected with affiliate marketing, not with affiliate marketing, with like online marketing. And that's when I started pushing it. And that's when like Unique came about. And I started running a water damage campaign for a friend of mine. And he was like, can you generate some calls? So I was like, yeah, sure. I generated calls. And then after that, I went to Google and I was like, hey, how can I sell these calls to other companies? And I found out about 33-mile radius and eLocal. So I sold my first call with Tim over at 33-mile radius. And I was like, oh shit, this is real. So I started running now my own campaigns and home services. And then I jump into flights. And when I jump into flights, it's when I had like my first like kind of like big win in the sense of, having a 7-figure campaign. Like, and I always like teaching people like how to do what is it that I do, with the hopes that they can do it and I don't have to do it anymore. So I started teaching other people how is it that I structure my campaigns. And that comes from somebody that never really signed up to learn from anybody. Like everything is just self-taught. Like, I just learned it by myself. Oh, this is how I do it. So I can communicate to you how is it that I do it. And hopefully you get, same or better results. And that's pretty much how I did it. And then 2018, I guess, that's when I started to get serious about it. And that's when I kind of broke into the scene as far as like start going to trade shows. I went to my first trade show, which was a Affiliate Summit East in New York. And right around that time, I get a call from Sean from Ringba. And I was using analytics call tracking. And I was like, I'm fine. This shit works. I connected with Twilio. Calls come in. They go to my buyers. Like, what else there is to it, And he goes, hey, man, just try it out. And I was like, okay, cool. And I was like, wow. And then when I started looking at other companies and other people in the industry, I was like, wow, look at this. This is like a whole sports league, quote unquote, of affiliate marketers. And I was like, fuck yeah, let's do this. And here I am now.
So then where did Unique Media come into play? How did you go, like, when did you decide to open your own company in the pay-per-call space?
So it was just laziness. Unique Media was originally open as a marketing company for the entertainment industry as far as music goes. And that was back in 2008, 2009, when I used to do marketing for record labels and stuff, right? And then when to fast forward to 2018, I didn't want to open a new company, so I just like, fuck it, I'll just keep it Unique Media. And that's how I did it.
So Carlos, talk to us a little. Hold on a second here.
I'm holding on. I'm going to pass it to Adam. Adam, let's go straight to you.
Course. Yeah, of
no,
course.
You're not passing it. I took it. You didn't pass shit. I took it. I do what I want. So listen, Carlos, One of my favorite things about what you do is the money making Mondays and your inner circle stuff. And I've been on a lot of these calls, and they're awesome because people get together, they collaborate, and they share openly and transparently all sorts of awesome marketing advice and information. And so, let's talk about that a little bit. I would love to know, like, I tell me about when you started doing that and like kind of when you had the epiphany and realized how amazing it actually was.
Yeah. So, it's a funny story. I was always very shy being in front of a camera or, like anything like that. So the only way that I was going to get good at it, thank you, is if I force myself to be in front of the camera. So what I did is like, okay, money making Mondays. And how money making Mondays came about is because I had to invoice 33-mile radius every Monday. I had to send in the invoice for the previous week. So people hate Mondays. And I'm like, no, Mondays are good. Money making Mondays. I'm sending the invoice to all my networks for the previous week. So then I was like, cool. And this show, here's what I want to do. At first, it wasn't really a show. It was just me showing training to kind of get people that don't know about pay-per-call to be like, this is pretty cool. Let me try it out. And then jump in. And in a way for me to be accountable, be consistent with it every Monday, sharing. And sometimes I overshare, but who cares, right? And nobody used to watch that. So like, like 2 people watching it and I'm there with the energy, like I'm, in the ClickFunnels freaking stage or something like that, right? But I'm like, well, one day, people will find the value to it. And I kept doing it. And when I had the epiphany moment, Adam, was when I started going to shows and people were like, yo, I watch your shit. I'm like, you watch my shit? Like, that's okay, cool. Or people saying, yo, you said something in that and a Money Making Monday, and bro, like you should see the results and blah 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 blah. And I'm like, no way. So people that I look up to telling me that they watch my stuff, like you, Adam, and stuff like that. I'm like, wow, this is pretty cool. So I push myself every Monday to go there. And then I also do a Thursday, which is the inner circle. And that's what our core team, as far as people that sign up for a program. And we jump on a Thursday call. And, it's amazing what happens when you put people with similar skills in a Zoom call and they openly start sharing ideas.
Yeah, it's really fucking amazing, actually.
Yeah.
Like, I was super surprised when I went to one of those inner circle calls for the first time. I wasn't sure what to expect. But what I found was amazing. And it was just that. It was like all these really smart, sharp marketers talking about their campaigns openly, which is very rare. And just that collaborative mindset, like everyone wants to get better and help each other. I thought it was really cool. I think what you created is pretty special.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate it.
Carlos,
I also know how it feels. Hold on. I'm taking it back, Josh. You ain't passing it. I also know how it feels, Carlos, when you show up at a trade show and people are like, oh, what's your thing? I remember the Philly at Summit East. I'm coming up the escalator and there's a kid wearing a suit at the top of the escalator. And he's like, oh shit, you're Adam. Bro, I watched your thing. And I wore the suit. You told me to wear the suit.
Oh man.
Always
you
wear a
gotta
suit,
know
guys.
it.
Always.
You have to. Yeah, it happens. It definitely happens. And this last trip, I had it. Like I had more of those interactions when we went to LeadsCon than any of the times before. Right? Like these opportunities come, and honestly, we just want to keep doing what we're doing and enable other people to come in and play the game. And obviously there's going to be some great players and not so great players. So, but that's just like in everything in life,
Carlos, I follow you on Instagram at 305 Shark. Make sure you check out his page. It's dope. But I see a lot of your training programs on there.
Post swag on, Josh. I like that. I like that little.
Yeah, I'm trying. I see a lot of your training on there. You talk about Unique Academy, you talk about paid per calls and how people can take the power back into their own hands. So I wanted to know, what makes a training program, like some of these in-person events you put on, a good one? What do you focus on delivering to these attendees that are there with you?
Man, the best experience ever. And that includes a mixture of the people that are there and speakers, right? So let me break it down so you kind of like understand what is it that I'm trying to say. Like when you put together a mastermind, I think that when you hear from different people how they solve the same problem or similar problem will give you the best perspective, right? So what I like to do is when I do one of this event is talk about obviously some of my winning campaigns and stuff, but allow some of the people in the crowd to also talk about points or subjects that relate to the crowd, right? And because you can have an agenda, but your crowd can be completely different, right? So that's what and then the networking side of it, and then having fun as far as enjoying doing things that you like doing, and that's really what we like to when we put together one of these events.
Yeah. So what are some of the things that you enjoy doing, like some of the fun stuff that you do at these events?
Sometimes like dinner or like go on a yacht or something like that, or with an open bar usually helps out a lot.
Yeah, give people a little loose chatting a bit.
Yeah, they can eat and drink and enjoy views and music.
So in terms of the training, you're basically providing a platform for people to voice what they're having trouble with, and that kind of takes care of itself in terms of what you talk about, because you're literally saying, what can I help you with? And then everybody in the room, including you, is like, here's what I'm doing. And that's kind of what the mathematical equation to these are.
Yeah. So with our training, when we initially put out our training, I initially put it out like I think it was like $997, right? And at the time, if you were brave enough to believe in yourself and myself and join my program, you will have access to my calendar, like Monday through Friday for a whole year. So 2018 and 19, I literally spend it like 40 hours a week, every week, like helping, people how to do this shit, right?
I'll take that deal.
I know, right? That was back then.
Where do I send the $997? I'm gonna call this fucker 3 times a week.
Exactly. So that's what was happening back then, and I gotta tell you, it's either like a blessing or a curse, or however you want to put it. I don't know if that's the right analogy, but you gotta have a lot of patience, first of all, and two, it makes you better, because you're doing the same thing, repetitive, over and over and over and over and over again. So how fast can you set up a full, pixel tracking through the browser and the server, and set up the campaign, and what structures, how it goes to what landing page, how are you tying all together to third-party software, how you're passing back information. If you're doing that in and out, every day, it's like Harrison at the gym twice a day, pom, pom, pom.
Got him again.
You guys are never gonna let me go. Okay.
Hey, Carlos, what are you talking about? I see you posting, Carlos, you're posting your own workout videos.
Listen, I do, but I'm working out like light. Harrison, he working out like he got a problem with Floyd Mayweather or something. He working out like
I'm prepping for my fight.
Twice a day.
Josh, and Carlos. I don't think you guys realize how far this has gone. I walked into our hotel room, yesterday, and out of nowhere, a trainer had moved in. Not stopped by.
true.
He was in the room. He slept in the room. It's just 24-hour trainer available on demand at any time. Though I will say it was nice to have him there. I needed to move a little furniture around. And
Yeah,
he
we
was
don't have
kind
good
enough-
backs, and he was willing to do it all of it. He was like, "Oh, I love moving heavy shit." We're like, "Yeah."
Carlos,
Wow.
Carlos, what do you think of Harrison's American flag full jumpsuit that he wears in the gym? Are you into it or not?
My honest opinion, you ready for
Yeah.
it? I think it's fucking dope that he wears that.
Yeah.
You know,
think
I'm
that
gonna get a
it takes
Cuban
a whole-
version too, just for you, Carlos. I'm gonna wear a Cuban flag.
I
for you
will
next
definitely
time.
wear it because when you wear that, that means that's fucking dope. That's the ultimate statement right there. Yeah.
Speaking of dope, I heard that the Ringba Mastermind in Vegas at LeadsCon was super dope. Adam,
It was.
I'd love for you to tell us a little bit about this. I know it was focused on leadership and hiring, but who was in attendance? Who was it geared towards? And what were some of the main highlights from the actual mastermind that you and Ringba put on?
Sure. So we had about 25 attendees. They were all CEOs of companies in pay-per-call, and they were all focused on massively scaling their pay-per-call businesses. We also had a Fortune 500 buyer swing by who's in our preferred buyer program. And so a lot of the people in the room were looking for more big buyers. And so we brought one of the biggest buyers in existence and got him connected with everybody in that room, which was super cool. And they went through their numbers actually and talked about how the most important thing to their business going forward is going to be growing their inbound call segment via ping. So that was really exciting to watch. And then, yeah, we did a leadership workshop, a culture workshop, and a hiring workshop. And we walked through some of the things that are important to me in leadership. We also then walked through Ringba's culture and our hiring policies and how we actually seek out super high performance, amazing talent, and then how to actually run a high performance team. So I thought it was a pretty awesome event. Feedback that I got was pretty good. Yeah.
Let's go to the unbiased feedback. Carlos, why don't you tell us what your experience was like? And honestly, Carlos, word on the street is that you had a moment at this mastermind where you blew some fucking heads. So tell us what your experience was and what was that moment all about?
I don't know. I don't remember that moment. When did I blow some heads?
You don't remember filling out the form?
Oh, yes. That moment. Yeah, that was pretty cool.
What was it? What? Yeah, tell. I wasn't there, so I don't know what they're talking about.
I'm not supposed to talk about it.
Okay. This was more just to see your reaction. I gotcha. Okay.
I got instructions and an email that says I can't talk.
Oh, okay, cool. I respect that.
That's true.
Our mastermind, Josh. I probably should have told you in advance. It's no pitching, no snitching, and no service providers.
Right.
Yes, but you had to be there. So next time, make sure you're there. And you know, who knows what happens.
And then just on the same topic of leadership and hiring, Carlos, this is kind of a common theme we ask some of our guests. What are your thoughts on leadership and hiring within your organization? What are the key points that you focus on when you're working on those two things?
Yeah, so I like to create other leaders, right? And the way that I do that is by removing myself from being the main leader, right? I naturally, obviously, you are, but when you also create leaders in their own departments, they can follow with the same culture that you have overall and facilitate how everything goes, right? And when we hire people, first of all, I hire people based on vibes. I know everybody's going to be like, you know, that's not how it goes, or that's not how you should do it. But, you know, you have to vibe with that person and be like, is this somebody that I will enjoy working with? If the answer is yes or no, then we can move on to other things, you know, like questionnaires and questions that you ask and interview process and all of that good stuff. But I only want to work with people that I enjoy working with, right? So that's kind of like my thoughts on that.
Harrison, I want you to tell us a little bit about LeadsCon in Vegas this past week.
Sure.
Who were some of the companies that were in attendance, and how does LeadsCon compare?
You know,
I wasn't done with my
coverage.
two-part question, actually. How does LeadsCon compare to the other trade shows in the industry?
Sure. So, firstly, I will say it's really hard, but I do remember that Rainbow was exhibiting. But I'm just drawing
They
a
were
blank on
definitely
other.
there.
Yeah, Rainbow was there. I'm drawing a blank on other company names though. It's really hard for me. I saw a bunch of companies, but Ringba had a prominent booth and a beautiful lanyard and badge sponsorship. So I got all those impressions, and so it was memorable enough that I remember them. But everyone else just they didn't nail it on the branding, so I couldn't tell you. But what I can say about LeadsCon is they definitely put on a quality event. It's hard to like people always ask me like which one's better, like what's better, Affiliate Summit, Lead Gen, this, that, or Lead Gen World, LeadsCon, whatever. It's really hard for me to kind of pin that. I think LeadsCon has an extremely high quality attendee base because simply put, the passes are expensive. So like, no offense if you didn't go to LeadsCon because the ticket was expensive, but Affiliate Summit you went to because it was $300. Like, you should have spent the $1,500. They're keeping the riffraff out, guys. It's just how it is. Like, the quality of people that come to the show they want to do business. There's still parties and stuff, but I didn't see anyone like asleep on a couch on day 2, hungover from the trade show. And at Affiliate Summit, I've seen people sleep on the couch hungover from the day before. On top of that, I think these shows are back in terms of attendance and stuff. Like, they're bigger, they're better. I wish that next year they would do it at the MGM again, but next year LeadsCon will be back at the Paris, which is kind of a downgrade, if I'm honest. But it's actually a really good show. But I can't prioritize or preference one. I would say we see more large brands and direct buyers, shall we say, if we're going call space reference at a LeadsCon, and at Affiliate Summit you see more agencies, networks, and affiliates or media buyers, whatever you want to call them. So it's kind of a contrast. Like, there's things that I would say Affiliate Summit is better for, and there are definitely aspects of LeadsCon that are much better too. It's hard because I know people that are like, we don't go to Affiliate Summit, we only go to LeadsCon. In my head, I'm thinking like, dude, just go to both. Like, I know it's tiring, it's expensive, but just pull the trigger, man. But it's the same, just depends what you're looking for. What do you think, Carlos?
I agree with you. Definitely.
See, quality is a man. Carlos is a man of high quality, high caliber, high quality, so he goes to both.
Carlos, what are you looking for at these shows? Are you looking to do pay-per-call business, or are you looking for affiliates that need training? Is it a little bit of everything?
Usually we already go with like our pre-meeting setups with like people that we want to do business with. And then aside from that, it's like the network side of things, right? Just meeting people. I have a very low standard when it comes to shows, in the sense that I'm just looking for one thing to happen, whether it's that one buyer or that one publisher or that one contact, right? That's the ultimate goal. Then everything on top of that, that's bonus.
Adam, Harrison was talking about
mindset to have.
I agree. Harrison was talking about Ringba's branding. I know you guys did some sponsorships on networking events and happy hours. Can you tell us a little bit about that and what the?
I don't think he could tell you much. We didn't go, but people on our team did.
Oh yeah. All right. So what did you hear about your own event that you didn't attend? How was that?
Well, I heard that our events were fantastic. I had someone text me. Shout out to my boy Ron. And he said, hey, where's the party at tonight? And I said, I think we're hosting one. But I did not go. I actually spent my time working with our team and clients, and unfortunately, I didn't have any time for the parties. But I hear they were great. And then, Josh, something else I wanted to mention is another shout out to our boy Andrew Katz, who actually runs the LeadsCon show. He's awesome. Got to see him there at LeadsCon. And he actually let us know that and announced at this show that there's now going to be a LeadsCon East. And so there used to be a LeadsCon East. It was called Connect to Convert, and it was in Boston, but they stopped doing that for a while. And they're now bringing back LeadsCon East. It's called LeadsCon Connect, and I think it's September. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it will be in Chicago. So interesting city, definitely some great food. But I'm excited to see LeadsCon bring back LeadsCon East because they put on a good show, and as Harrison said, the quality is generally exceptional. So I'm very excited to see what this new show is about. And of course, Ringba's sponsoring it.
I feel like it should be.
Whoa! Hold on.
That?
This just in. Harrison Gevirtz went to a club in Vegas. Harrison Gevirtz went to a club in Vegas. Harrison, we're gonna go right to you now. Can you please tell us a little bit about your club experience? I know this is a rare occurrence for you. What the hell? You went to a club in Vegas?
Hold on, I gotta catch my fucking breath. I did go to a club in Vegas. That was pretty amazing, Josh. Adam can tell you, in order to do that, I had to meditate for about 30 minutes on a chair, drink coffee at 11:30 at night. I had to wash my face with cold water. That was incredible. Yes, I've been invited. Every time I've been in Vegas, the last 4 to 6 times, by our friend Brandon Bowski, and the last time I was in Vegas, I promised him that I would make an appearance.
Friend of the show, Brandon Bowski.
I did, and I prefer the hotel room. I had a good time. It was nice. Thank you, Brandon, for having me. I did fuck up one thing though. About 20 minutes before I left, we're in the room. It was me, Adam, ring employee Chad, and our friend Ben. And Ben said, "You should probably get some earplugs." And I said, "I wish I had some earplugs." And Chad didn't hear it, but he had earplugs. And I think I finally got my hearing back today.
Yeah,
well, I just lost mine from this fire alarm.
Dude, I spent 5 minutes on YouTube looking at different alarms. I'm like, panic alarm, red alert alarm, most obnoxious alarm. I was like, this one creates pure chaos.
That's why I made that reference about how it's like when you get the check at the club, you got to show the check to the group so everyone knows. Because, I saw some people paying their bills. Great business, though, must say. They have some high margins.
What is an affiliate marketing show without any very important marketing related topics, right? And
serious and very, very serious.
On the topic of March Madness that just started this week, just yesterday, Twisted Tea, the adult beverage, drops vasectomy underwear for March Madness. Now, I don't know if you guys know this, but I've heard about it. A lot of guys time their vasectomies around the March Madness tournament because it's an excuse to sit on their couch and watch basketball all day, every day. So Twisted Tea, being the geniuses that they are, went for like the gag marketing ploy where they created these boxers with 2 pockets for 2 12-ounce tall boys that slide right into the front that sit on the male genitalia area that might be a little sore. Now, my question to you guys, and I'm going to go straight to Adam because I know he probably definitely wants to talk about this, is Adam, what are your thoughts on this kind of gag marketing? Does it work? Is it more just like a joke, or do you think they're actually trying to accomplish anything, or is it really just a branding ploy? Like, we don't really give a fuck what you think. We just think this is hilarious and we want to be in the news.
Yeah, it's exactly that. I mean, it doesn't really matter if you're going to do something like this, whether it's real or fake or whatever. The more ridiculous it is, the better off you're going to be. Though I would say, and I'd like to hear from our resident bodybuilder, if their design is
wait, are you talking about Harrison or Carlos? Who are you talking about? I'm not sure.
Harrison.
Oh, okay.
Harrison. Okay. Yeah, exactly. Because when they put the T down the front of the crotch, I don't think it's actually going to ice the balls The balls
All
are
right, because
underneath.
first and foremost, I truly hope my family isn't watching this because they don't have any clue about it.
I didn't say anything. What are you talking about, Harrison? I'm just
I
talking
would
about
say
product
that
design.
I'm looking at the picture here, and for you to get optimal ice coverage, it doesn't. It looks like it's just gonna ice, not the testes, and that's what needs to be iced from me googling.
Right. Asking for a friend. Now, going to a more important topic, Buffalo Wild Wings is getting sued over boneless wings for false and deceptive marketing. See how it ties in here? False and deceptive marketing. A man claims that their boneless wings are not from the wing at all. They're just little cubes of chicken breast. Now, how does something like this hold up in court, Carlos? Do you think he's going to actually walk away with anything? Is he just like, I have so much money, I don't care. I just want to be a dick.
I think that's dumb. He's a dumbass.
Thank you, Carlos, for your expert opinion there. Let's go to Harrison. Harrison, what do you think about this boneless wing fiasco?
Well, I'm trying to read.
Are you
He's gonna
actually
get
trying to figure out the merits of the boneless wing false and
yes.
deceptive marketing
So,
claims?
as a professional eater, I would say that technically speaking, I believe boneless wings are technically pretty close to chicken nuggies. So I kind of feel where he's at.
But it's boneless white meat chicken. Isn't that more expensive than the wings? Like, isn't it a better product than they're advertising?
But tell me, do you know any birds that have wings without bones?
Here's a better question. Is this false and deceptive marketing, Adam? Is this false?
Adam, just answer my question. Hold on. This is like, we're doing a little bit of a mock trial here. Are there any birds without bones in their wings?
Am I allowed to use Google?
Feel free. Chat GPT, whatever the fuck you want.
Wait, for real though. Is this false and deceptive marketing?
Wait.
No, it's not. It's not. Definitely not.
I will tell you this.
What do they expect to pull out the
look at you
bone?
wrong. I can look at you in the wrong way and you can sue me. So he will sue.
No, they all have bones in their wings. The only differentiation is whether or not they have hollow bones or not. And so
I unfortunately have to side with the plaintiff.
It's technically false.
I think we're going to have to get David Attenborough on the show.
I'm looking at a picture of their marketing.
Get your own legal counsel. I'm not a lawyer.
There's no disclaimer. So if they, for example, put a disclaimer in the bottom that said boneless wings are actually not wings, I would say they're in the clear. But here's what's going to happen. They're going to get this guy. They're like 83 lawyers are going to call him and be like, Mr. Halim, that's his name. I'm reading the article. We understand your case. We think this is ridiculous. We are here to fatten people up and make them smile by eating wings. You are wrong. Our wings are wings, and we will give you free chicken wings for life and $1,200. And he's gonna go, can you make it $2,500? And they're gonna go, done. Where do we send the check? And this lawsuit will fall away into the depths of being forgotten about. What do you think, Adam? Am I pretty
almost anything for $2,500?
It's like if I go to McDonald's and it says hot coffee and then I purposely spill it on myself and then sue them for burning myself, even though it says hot fucking coffee, they still will probably send me a check because this is the beautiful country we live in, guys.
This is the Affiliate Marketing Show. We talk about all the latest marketing tips and trends just like this. Make sure you tune in next week as we have another episode and a great guest. Carlos, before we let you go here, I just want to pass the microphone back over to you. Anything else you want to tell our viewers about Unique Media, paidpercalls.com, any training programs or events you got coming up? Now's your time to do it.
Yeah, so we are planning on doing another mastermind sometime in the summer. And then at the end of the year, we're going to do a mastermind at the AFI Expo in LA. I'm not sure of the dates, but that's going to be with Darren to coordinate that, where we want to talk about the latest and what's working and what's not working in pay-per-call and, how to improve it and why not. More of the technical stuff in and out than than anything else.
For Josh from OfferVault.com, Adam Young, the CEO and founder of Ringba, Harrison Gavert's future competitive bodybuilder and affiliate marketer, as well as Carlos Corona Jr. from Unique Media and Unique Academy and PaidPerCalls.com. Let's make that paper. You know the rest. We'll see you next time, everybody. Take care.
Affiliate marketing show. Wanna make that paper? Wanna make that dough?
Live from Miami, Florida. It's the Money Making Monday Show with your host, Carlos. I got calls in different areas. I got calls.
I didn't think it was going to go anywhere. Long story short, that campaign generated like $1 million in revenue in 4 months.
Welcome to the Eddie Garcon podcast. This is the very first podcast, and we have an amazing guest here. Unique Media Group's very own Carlos Corona is in the house. I mean, I'm telling you, this guy, he's magnificent at what he does. Affiliate Marketer of the Year, Carlos Corona, just been awarded an AFI Award winner, and is just a trailblazer in his own right. And we're excited to have him. Carlos Corona, thank you for being here, brother. How you doing?
Good, man. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes, sir. I mean, man, look, I think we all know that Miami, it's just boisterous with marketers.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's hard to stand out. It's hard to be, you know, one like such yourself, recognized for the things that you do. And with a lot of viewers kind of getting into that space of marketing and stuff like that, just really want to know kind of what's the story, man? Like what's the foundation? What has gotten you here? Where was the start? You know, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'll tell you. I'll dive into it, and I'll paint the whole picture so you can kind of see what I went through. But Miami has it all, right? It's the good thing about affiliate marketing or marketing, digital marketing in general, is usually you have high returns, right? 100%. And if you have high returns, that means you have more buying power. So where do you want to be? So Miami has it all, right? It has the weather, it has the culture, and access to the rest of the world.
Huge.
So that's something that plays major part. As far as myself, I struggle a lot. Yeah, I struggle a lot because for the most part, I'm self-taught. So back when I was in college, I got a PDF from Perry Marshall. And it was the ultimate guide to Google Ads, at the time, Google AdWords. And back then, this was like 2005, 2006.
Wow, so fresh.
Yeah.
Wow.
This was like, there was no like YouTube. So you had to like
literally
read a PDF, like, you know.
Open a book.
Yeah, you had to print it out. You had to print it out because you didn't want to pay for like the copy to be mailed to you.
Wow.
So you print it out, and then I start reading it. And it started making a lot of sense to me, and I start like buying media at the time without knowing that I was buying media. I was running ads in Google, and I was running ads that were for physical products. So I was running ads for like name fragrances, like perfumes and stuff like that. And then I developed a company around that. So I set up a company, and then we started wholesaling perfumes. What I employed, like my mom came to help me out.
What?
At the time, my girlfriend, my dad was helping me out with deliveries. There was no Uber delivery or nothing like that. So we're talking like 2006, 7, right? And then I was able to buy media online because I kind of knew Google, but I was also opening business around that. So I was working there myself all the time. And it was limited by what I can produce, you know, in there. And then I opened a logistic company and so on, right? So that was the early beginnings. And at the time, I was also doing websites for business owners. Like, hey, you need a website? Like, I'll help you out. And I'll either do it myself or I taught a friend how to do it, so he will do it for me or outsource it to another country or whatever. And at the time, my idea was pretty simple. It was like, don't pay me for a website. Instead, just give me 25 cents for every phone call that I send your business, right? Yeah, just 25 cents. I build your website. I put in my phone number.
It's a deal.
Yeah, well, 2009, nobody wanted that deal.
What?
Nobody wanted that deal.
Sure, they're regretting it now.
Yeah, so it was like not a good deal at the time, right? And I don't know why. Maybe because I was young, or maybe because pay per call wasn't really a thing like it is now. So I forgot about that. I was like, you know what? Forget it. I'm just gonna keep charging for websites, and I'm gonna keep doing my thing. And then you fast forward to 2018, right? That I was kind of officially done with like the brick and mortar type of business and that mindset. So I, forget about that. And then fast forward to that, I'm generating leads for a friend of mine, Bobby. I don't know if you've seen Bobby in the building. He's a Cuban American guy. He owns the Sushi Sake franchise. So they have like 32 stores here in South Florida. But one of his companies is a claims company. They do water damage and claims like that. And I'm generating leads for him. And then I'm like, yo, Bobby, like I want to generate leads like all over the US. I just don't want to generate leads in South Florida, Miami-Dade County. Like we could be making a lot more money if we went to nationwide, right? If we went nationwide.
Back in 2018.
This is 2018, end of 2018. And then he tells me, maybe you should look for a company. Look for a company out there that will buy these calls, that will buy these leads. And it triggered that from 2009 that I was thinking about calls. I'm like, I wonder if somebody will buy a call. So I went to Google and I typed in, who will buy water restoration calls. Boy, oh boy, there was a whole industry that was there, like a $13 billion industry in pay-per-call and performance marketing, especially call-driven performance marketing. And that's when I was like, wow. So I contacted the company right away. I'm like, look, I can generate these calls. They told me, nope, you have no references. We don't know who you are. Like, we don't want to do business with you. I'm like, man. I contacted another company, and they said, yes. At the time, it was Mike and Tim from 33 Mile Radius, and they were like, yeah, we will gladly test out your calls. And I start sending them calls. I think like the first week I made like $800, and by the second week I was up like $2,000, and I couldn't believe it. So I stopped sending them calls because I wanted to make sure I got paid. So I was like, I haven't received payment, bro, and if you guys don't pay me, like this is it. And it was like, can you just relax? You've been with us for less than a week. It takes time for you to get your first payment. I'm like, I don't know, man. I'm telling Bobby, and Bobby's like, yo, just relax. Thursday, boom, I get my first payment. It was like almost like $2,800. And I was like, hey, man, this is it. This is for a little test campaign that I'm doing. Let's scale this baby up. And we did, and it's now an 8-figure a year business. So we'll definitely scale it up.
Wow. So you're telling me an idea that you essentially quit on 10 years prior becomes the wealth creation for you, your family, your company, essentially.
Correct.
And so back in 2018, now when you're, of course, you're doing all these other businesses, you're trying to put it together, you're trying to figure it out. At this point, I'm sure you have much more experience. You've probably failed at some companies.
Yeah.
What was that? Because obviously, again, the first time came, you're like, I don't know, but that second time that came around, what motivates you and be like, you know what, it didn't work out the first time, but what drove you to get to this point now after all that failure, all that stuff, all those no's these companies were telling you?
I think that when I saw that there was an industry out there, and when I saw that there were networks and there were companies, and then it all makes sense. Why is there so many call centers, right? Trying to get in contact with anybody, and you end up in a call center. And then I had that moment, like late, but I had it, that it clicked on me, like, oh, wait a second. And then I started doing home services. So I started doing plumbing, like a lot of plumbing calls, water damage, mold remediation, pretty much anything that was a cause of a water problem at your house, right? Carpet cleaning, biohazard cleanup. So I started doing that, and that was doing pretty well, right? It was nothing like groundbreaking, but it was doing pretty well.
Yeah.
And from there, I shifted into other verticals. So I was like, let me try running like dental. Let me try running like other things that will, also make money, like emergency. And what really changed everything, it was literally one campaign. You know how they say like you have one campaign and one funnel or one email or one phone call or one everything, one meeting away, right? So it was literally one campaign, and it was a flight campaign. Yeah, it was a flight campaign, and that really was.
Wow. So essentially, you start working on all these different businesses, and I'm assuming because you were focusing on water, that same data that you were generating for these companies, and of course they're winning. They're getting calls every single day. They're getting appointments every single day set in their calendar. They're closing deals. And at that same time, you're thinking about different ways to, expand your business, expand your company. Now, obviously, when most businesses start, they try to scale very fast. Like, hey, I'm start this thing, I'm start that thing. What made you a little bit more comfortable to trying, these different sub-markets and, generating new data for like, people and businesses you probably never, knew much about?
Most of them have been just coincidence.
Wow.
Yeah. Like, most of them have just been like an example of flights, right? Before that, I was testing campaigns that I would think that they will do well, right? It was just me like, I think this will do well. Like I run credit repair. I'll run, final expense. I run this and run that. But I was taking my daughter to a pediatrician appointment, and at the time, this was kind of recently, like 2020. It was COVID, and it could only be one of us up there. So I was like, you know what? I'll stay in the car. And like usual, and then I stayed in the car. When I was in the car, I was watching a YouTube video about flights, about like flight calls, and they were mentioning like that there's volume in flight calls, and then that I should like look into it, and I was like, oh, that's interesting, flight calls, like who really books flight? So a friend of mine called me, and she's like, hey, can you generate some flight calls? And I was like, interesting. I just saw a video about flight calls. Like,
so literally. Out of nowhere. That was
out of nowhere.
Really coincidental.
Out of nowhere. Like, I just saw a video about flight calls. Like, who buy? Answer me this, Tina. Her name is Tina. I'm like, answer me this, Tina. Like, who buys, like a plane ticket over the phone? Like, who does that? Right?
Yeah.
She's
it's
like,
2020.
I'm like, everybody. I'm like, no. I'm like, don't you use an app? Like, that's what normal people do. Like, I was like, no. Like, like, just look into it, please. And I was like, okay, cool. I'll look into it. No guarantees. I'll look into it, and I'll let you know. So I go ahead and set up the campaign. And then I set up the campaign, like, in just, like, it took me, like, an hour or something like that. And then I, turned it on, and it was sent to review. And I forgot about it. I forgot that I set up the campaign. And then, like, 4 days later, I see, like, a huge spike in phone calls coming in. And all the phone calls were, like, dropping. They were not connecting. gonna set up the campaign, I only set up the front part of it.
Oh, so you didn't even, so you didn't really think it was gonna go anywhere.
I didn't think it was gonna go anywhere. And then I forgot to actually connect it to a target, to a call center, so the call will route properly.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was gonna go anywhere. And long story short, that campaign generated like $1 million in revenue in 4 months. And and that was really like, you know, I'd done 7 figures before, but not so fast, not in one campaign, you know. So that was a campaign that I truly got to scale. Like the traffic was like 100% my traffic, so I was the only one generating the calls for that. And it was a way that I did it that later on I broke it down and I made it into a course that people can, you know, now watch and do it. But it was the way that I did it that it was not what everybody else was doing. And I wasn't really looking like, oh, I'm going to do that. I was like, let me see if this works. And that was really what like pushed me, right? But after that, I had a moment that kind of changed everything, because what I did is I created a challenge, right? And it was a challenge where I will go ahead and go on YouTube, on Facebook Live for 3 days, right? And I will show you exactly step by step what is it that you need to do to generate phone calls, and you know, whoever wins the challenge at the end of the 30 days, meaning whoever generates the most revenue, gets $10,000. So that challenge brought in like a whole more people than I was expecting.
Wow.
Right? So literally like over 100 people joined that challenge from my Facebook friends, right? Without promo or anything. I just, you know, put it out there. Yeah. And the challenge brought in a whole bunch of people. But up until that point, and I'll tell you why the story of the challenge, because up until that point, I was generating the traffic like pretty much all by myself.
Yeah.
I was doing all the media buying, all the creatives, everything I was doing by myself. Yeah, it was a lot of work.
Not easy.
It's good money, but it was a lot of work. And then at that, when I created the challenge, and I pretty much grabbed like, look, this is how I do it. Like, this is a formula. This is a step-by-step. You know, record it for the first time, and now you guys can do it. It took us 10 days to generate 7 figures, where it took me 4 months to do it on my own.
And that's huge, though, because like a lot of people want to do it on their own. They want to feel like, oh, I did this. It's prideful. But when you worked with a team and you let people come in, that's where things change.
Yeah. So, and then after that, I was like, I looked at my business partner, Clayton, and like, bro, we just got to tell everybody how is it that we do it. Like, if we see people as competitions or haters or anything, we're really not going to get to the next step. How we're going to get to the next step is by winning them with transparency and with trainings and education. Because if I bring you into the business, I'm transparent with you from the beginning, and I show you exactly what I know, with the end goal that I will buy, like that you will do business with me, that I will buy your calls or that you will buy my calls, right? A lot of the other companies are not doing that. They don't want to share people what they're doing because they don't want competition. So I always tell, that's like Michael Jordan being like, you know what? I don't want anybody else to know how to play basketball because I only want to play basketball. You know, it's never going to work. It's not going to be a game, right? So I tell other people, yeah, you need somebody to come in and challenge you on your skills to see that, you know, what you come up with, what solution do you find? Because if you're a business owner, if you're an entrepreneur, you are, you know, your main skill is, you know, solving problems.
20%.
You know, every business owner that I know, they can tell me they're great at whatever it is, solving a problem.
Yeah.
Right. So, that's you have this challenge that is going to make you solve that problem. So you have somebody that comes in and is going to like do better numbers than you, then now you got a problem, right? You be like, man, how can I solve that?
100%.
How can I beat this guy?
And it's okay though, because I think so many times people, you know, are starting great companies like yourself. You've done really good in the beginning. And it's like, I want to get to the next level. I want to scale. And, I know, and you feel like you can get some form of complacency from it. Like, I know everything. I've made the money. There's no one else that can tell me what to do. But so much, I feel like that's where entrepreneurs fail, because not only are you solving problems, but you're really in position to be as resourceful as possible. And humans are the best resource, because if you don't got no one to bounce ideas back and forth, whenever you're stuck for sure.
Yeah, totally.
And you said a very big thing, like about problems. Like when it comes to marketing, it's not easy. I mean, like when you said that you did your own creatives, that's just not creatives to everybody. That's creatives. That's ad copy. That is plugging it from the back end to actually get the calls. Like doing all those things. How does one, again, because you're coming across problems every single day. How do you remain in the mentality to stay consistent? Like no matter what comes on my plate, and growing this team and teaching other people that no matter what, I can be successful at what it is I'm doing.
Yeah, so by forcing yourself to do it, right? So what I did, what I did is when I started like sharing with people how to do all this stuff, I opened up a calendar, and then if you had any issues, and I don't do that anymore, but at the time, I opened up a calendar, and then if you had any issues, you can book a Zoom call with me, and we'll jump on the call, and we'll fix it right there and then. What happens is I was like 7-8 hours a day on Zoom calls.
Wow.
Right? Because everybody was booking calls back to back to back. And I was like, man, this is too much. But that taught me a huge lesson, which is like if you practice something every single day, you're going to get good at it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I got really good at setting up accounts, new accounts, tracking, integrations, creative testing, because I was doing it every single day.
And you're teaching people too.
And then I'm teaching you how to do it, but I'm also doing it, right? Yeah. And at the same time, I'm doing it in my account, so you can copy it. So I'm kind of like working on my stuff, So by doing that, you just get good at it. And then once you're good at something, and you're being rewarded for that, you're just going to naturally incline into like being the best at whatever it is that you do, right? Like, you don't want to be better than anybody. Like, I don't personally want to be better than anybody, but I definitely want to be better than I was like
yesterday,
a few days ago, a week ago, whatever. 100%. Yesterday, correct.
I mean, I think so much as an entrepreneur, like when you kind of get outside of that bubble and outside of yourself, and you look at yourself like, man, the only way that I do get somewhere is if I'm constantly refining myself day in and day out. And to be honest, teaching others and like actually, guiding them while you're guiding yourself is probably one of the best ways to refine yourself, because it's reps. You're getting reps every single day, new ads, new creatives, new things. So, I mean, we all know that, right now, economically, the landscape is changing, right?
Yeah.
Businesses have to be different. They need to do different. Especially me, I'm a realtor. So it's like there's a sea of realtors. And, as an affiliate marketer, as someone who's out there in that space, crushing it, what do you guys do, or how do you guys think differently in comparison to all these other marketing agencies saying they could do the same thing, if not better? Like, how do you guys enter that creative space?
Yeah, I totally get it. We are like we're in the performance marketing space. So pretty much what that means is that you need to, we get paid for results. So we're not on retainer.
100%.
Right? So a lot of agencies out there, right? Everybody has different business model, but for the most part, most people are taught how to make a marketing agency.
Yeah.
And what they're teaching people is how to go and find for small business owners, put them on retainer, and outsource it to somewhere else, right? So what happens is that, everything is being done, but the quality could be questionable or hard to track for the most part, right? And it's not a model that you can necessarily scale as fast as performance marketing.
Okay.
So normally we are the one that kind of like choose what offers we want to run, and then there's call centers and partners that we will do business with that know that have the capacity to handle the volume that we're expected to send, right? So normally we work with call centers that have like 300 to 500 people on the floor, right? To be able to handle like thousands of calls per day, right? And make it worthwhile on our end, right? So we wouldn't work with like smaller, right? So that take us out of there, kind of like enterprise business model, right? So because of that, you generate volume, it's easier to work with. Now, if I was in the position of helping out a smaller agency, right? Like somebody that wanted to like get somebody like you, a realtor, to spend money on marketing to get results, I wouldn't do it. I personally wouldn't do
It'd
it.
be more difficult for them to understand.
Yeah, what I would tell you is for you to either yourself or hire somebody that works for your company to learn lead gen or have knowledge of lead gen and execute it for yourself. Like, it also comes with your capital and cash flow, right? I think that the biggest mistakes that most small business owners make is that they hire cheap talent.
100%.
Right? 100%. So the biggest mistake that I see is that business owners will hire, thinking about their pocket and not the potential outcome. So if you go right now and you are a realtor and you go and you hire a marketer that, that is going to charge you like $40, $50, $60, $70,000 a year to do marketing for you, you're just gonna get another one out of the stack, right? If you hire one that's gonna charge you like 175, 225, 250, that's your guy. Like, there's a reason why he's charging that, because he's 100% confident that his output is way more than what he's asking for.
Quality of the leads.
Right? So now you're going to have a whole set of different issues. It's not going to be the marketing and the leads. It's going to be the back end to fulfill that.
That's the reason why the model with the enterprise is having people to follow up the leads, having people to nurture the leads until appointment is huge.
Correct.
And so I want to kind of focus on that right there, because again, I and probably many people don't necessarily understand to the depth of like the difference of performance marketing in comparison to affiliate marketing. Now, for me as an outsider in the industry, I'm starting to really recognize how important the performance marketing is. I mean, what do you see in the next 5 to 10 years with the performance marketing industry in regards to delivering your clients, your businesses, those type of quality leads in comparison to like those other models?
Yeah. So there's a lot of regulation going on in the industry currently. Most of the regulations that we're seeing that are getting signed or either, close to going effective are regulations that are preventing like consumer complaints, that are creating consumer complaints, right? Such as outbound dialing, the 50 million calls that you get about auto warranty and all that stuff, right? Spamming, like SMS spamming and stuff, getting random text messages or getting like random voicemails or filling out a form on a website and then getting 20,000 calls nonstop back to back. Yeah. So there's a lot of regulation that is coming to prevent that, right? Because there's a lot of consumer complaints. So in the next 5 years, what we're going to notice, or what I think is going to happen, is that you're going to see a lot of the small players just not make it, right? And the ones the bad actors in the industry that are not playing by the rules, they're going to get, compliance is going to crush them.
Yeah.
So there's going to be even more opportunities for those of us that want to do the right thing and generate calls the right way and do customer acquisition the right way, right? So I think the market is going to increase. I think it's going to become bigger. I think that companies are getting used to like paying per result works better than just throwing, out there to see what they can catch. Because it comes down, in our industry, comes down to CPA, and CPA means like cost per acquisition. So let's say that if you write like I don't know, if you write like a final expense insurance policy and you're getting paid like, you know, $700 to give you an example, right? And it costs you $175 to sell a policy,
Yeah.
right? Then it's a profitable business for you. You will pay $175 all day to collect $7, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that is performance marketing. You know, you're paying for that result. So I think that model is going to keep increasing because the cost is predictable for the advertiser, and it's also predictable for the publisher.
100%.
So it will keep increasing, and I think that a lot of people in the industry and the online marketing industry that currently do other things like e-com, just regular CPL and CPA and stuff like that, they're moving towards pay-per-call, and there's a huge rush into pay-per-call right now because how profitable it is and the demand from it, from advertisers that depend on these calls to generate sales.
It's huge. I mean, when you really think about it, you know, and especially from a enterprise level, I mean, if you're able to generate, and I've seen, you know, amazing things you and Unique Media Group has been doing. You guys are generating thousands of calls to these businesses. I mean, a real business, like you said, all they need to focus on is no longer the front end things because you guys are taking that and need to work on their back end. Now, what struggles have you seen from businesses that, you know, they were able to afford the lead generation, but their actual systems, their processes couldn't really handle
correct.
Like, how do you help your clients navigate through that, you know, to receive that much business?
A lot of them are experienced and they know exactly what is it they're doing. But in general, it just comes down to being a human.
Yeah.
You know, most of the time agents have a good day, a bad day. They could have family problems, issues. They could have a sore throat, not feel like being there.
Yeah.
So it's just, you know, you have to understand that you're dealing with humans. And you have to understand, in the case of pay-per-call, that for every one phone call that is live, there's another human at the end talking to that person. So it's it's a multiple of two now, right? So that also limits on how fast you can, or how much you can scale, because it will be really hard to have like 25, 30,000 people talking at the same time, because it will require 70,000 people.
100%.
Right?
100%.
So, but with that being, you know, in there, what we normally see that the problems are from, you know, like I said, humans having bad days, then technologies and things that are like that, right? That relates to either having bad tech or an agent that is not performing, or they have no internet or something like that, and it affects it. But for the most part, because these are like seasoned players, everything runs pretty smooth.
And the truth is, they're going to keep building. And truthfully speaking, good quality leads, like you said, is starting to be such a high demand because of the complaints. And so if they're working alongside an agency like Unique Media Group, and they're receiving these incentives, receiving these great leads, they want to continuously build with you guys.
Correct.
And I remember in the speech that you give when you're getting your award for, you know, Affiliate of the Year, you mentioned about building trust with your clients, building a real relationship, which I think is kind of pushed to the side nowadays. People are looking for that quick buck. They're looking for, you know, in and out. How do you really emphasize relationships with your clients that you're working with, these businesses, you know, long term?
Yeah, well, we're a people first company, right?
100%.
So we do business with people. You know, they work for companies.
Yeah.
But we do business with people, right?
100%.
So we like to build that trust, and just for everybody in the team, we like to make sure that, you know, we're transparent with what we're saying we're going to do. We're accountable for what we say we're going to do. And then we deliver, you know, what we say we're going to deliver. And usually that's like, you know, like a no BS approach. Like, this is what we can do and this is what we cannot do.
Yeah.
And that eliminates also a lot of the people that we can work with.
Yeah.
Because when you have a strict set of rules and you don't want to bend them, right? Or you tell everybody, hey, make sure that nobody bend, these are the rules. Then it brings in the ideal partner that you want to work with.
Yes.
The problem comes when we're trying to like, oh no, but this one wants it this way and this one wants another way, and before you know, your team is all over the place. So that's what we like to do. We like to structure things so they run like you know, like they're supposed to, and then that way it builds trust with people, and then we also like to do masterminds where we bring people in and we network, and you know, we do dinners at all the events that we go to and the small gatherings, and any excuse that we have, whether to play golf or go fishing or anything else that we can talk, and then from talking ideas come up, and some of those ideas make it into production, and eventually they turn into something great.
And I think that's a huge thing to emphasize on right now, you know, networking. You know, I think, you know, when you look at it 10 to 15 years, networking was still kind of in the books. Yeah, let's go network, let's go do things. But now I think it's really taken on a new role. I know you yourself, you help, like you said, hundreds, if not thousands of affiliates, thousands of performance marketers, you know, try to get footing in this industry, which is not easy. You know, how important is networking for someone looking to get into these type of spaces and, you know, share these type of creative ideas, you know, to grow?
Huge. Huge. I think it's vital. I think that if you're going to jump into affiliate marketing, performance marketing, you have to become a professional networker.
100%.
You have to go to the events. You have to go to the conferences. You have to show up. You know, have to have a firm handshake, some type of digital or physical business card, and you have to deliver on what you say that you do, because it's a small industry after all. You know, so networking is a huge part, because you never know that one contact, that one campaign, that one thing that you can learn from somebody that can change everything for your business, right? So I love to network. I'm the type of guy that whenever I go to a conference, I make sure to grab every single card that and every single booth. So I go and grab everything, because you never know, like really when you're going to be doing business with somebody or not. So yeah.
And you know, I think it's huge because from what I'm hearing, when you're talking about marketing, you're talking about expanding a business's reach to its consumers. There's a lot of ideas that got to come into place, and not only just ideas. The thing I really love about marketing is you have to turn something from what's in your mind into what's in reality. You know, it's easy for you to be like, you know what, this PPC stuff, it looks pretty interesting, but you took an idea that, you know, was something you kind of fledged off 10 years ago and was able to turn it into reality. Now, a lot of entrepreneurs are kind of in that same boat. They have an idea. They have, you know, some sort of ambition to make something happen for their life. You know, what advice would you kind of give them to, you know, make that pivot in their life?
Just to do what they like to do, right? Because there's many ways to define success,
100%.
Right? A lot of us will define success using financial standards, right? How successful is your company? Most people are not asking like how many lives did you save. They're asking how much money you make, right?
It's not the same.
So it depends how you define success. But you have to do something that you like so you can be successful at it. Whether that is a for-profit or non-for-profit, right? So you're still an entrepreneur either way. So do something that you like. And if you like the money, but you do not like the long hours of learning how to become an affiliate marketer, a media buyer, performance marketer, this is not for you. Right?
I mean, and that's huge because I'm not gonna lie, you guys. You know, trying to set up a campaign for the first time, it could get irritating. You know, you're talking about, you know, you got to make sure things are on point because it could be the most simplest things: the color of a button, the line of a small description or copyright. Like you have to be very detail orientated to grow in those fields. But again, you know, Carlos, I do want to, you know, thank you for coming on to the podcast.
Thank you.
I think that, you know, with the performance marketing, that there's going to be so much opportunity for what you guys are doing at Unique Media Group. and that, you know, for a lot of people out there looking and watching what you guys do and, you know, continue paving that path. I think there's going to be a lot more to come, and hopefully we get to see it, man.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Sir.
Pleasure having you. Thank you.
Sir.